Reed. Good to see you. Actually, you're seeing me. Just wanted to give you a quick tutorial on how to evaluate students on the COVID-19 simulation. I wanted to say again, thank you so much for the entire team that has worked on this project. It has truly been a collaborative effort. In this email, I'm going to be sending you out some documents and just wanted to walk you through what you're going to be looking at. First, starts out here with this letter, which is explaining what is in the document that is about, I think, 17 pages long. In this document, you're going to see all the objectives and assignments for students across the entire program, so it's not specific to your course. What I wanted to point out to you is that items that are underlined are hyperlinked, so you can see the videos and you can see the associated resource that goes with it. Items in blue are how the assignment correlates with the associate rubric. Items in red provide an answer key. This is a suggested answer key. We split up this work and know that it is a suggested answer key, but certainly it is up to you to determine if the student is answering appropriately for your level. And then the last thing is the rubric that provides evidence-based clinical judgment rubric that we have used in the past in several of the courses. I'm going to go over that rubric with you so that you know how to utilize it. Parts 1 through 7 of this assignment are due on Friday, April the 17th at noon, and students are encouraged to participate in the live webinar that is happening on Friday from 1 to 2:30, Friday, April the 17th. After that debriefing, they're encouraged to do their reflection, which is part 8, and they can turn that in the following week with the due date of Friday, April the 24th. I do want to encourage you to remind your students to maintain HIPAA when doing this reflection, so they shouldn't be talking about specific situations that they may have had as a PCT or in a different role. We're really looking for their reaction to the COVID-19 pandemic. So moving on in this document, we have the purpose of the assignment. The purpose is to give the student the opportunity to explore the nursing implications of caring for patients under investigation for COVID-19, and also have them participate caring for that patient and their family members, as well as examine their own personal and professional global impact of the coronavirus epidemic. Here are the course objectives for each course, specific to the simulation. Moving on down, we're now on page 4. This is how the assignment is broken up into different parts. So, for example, part 1 is the pre-work. If I hover over this line and click Control, and then click the hyperlink at the same time, it will take you to that video. Here's the student's discussion board. You will see that it's indicated that all students are to complete part 1 discussion board, and then the things that they should, the blue part is how it connects to the rubric, and the red part is how suggested answer key. So you'll see it moves on to part 2, where all students complete part 2. In part 3, you're going to see that they watch the triage video. This is part of the simulation. And only 2103P and 3111P are to answer this discussion board. In your student's Blackboard site, this is specified for them. They're not having to pick and choose what to answer. It is this comprehensive answer key that you are seeing that they are not seeing. So all of the different parts of this document are broken down. The suggested answer key is given here for you. And I'm going to move down here to, I'm going to stop here actually in part 7. You will note that they have a 4-question quiz that they will answer, and that will be part of their assignment. So that is one part that's not in the discussion board. And then here is the rubric. that I'm not fully on the page. Here we go. The rubric. This is the clinical judgment rubric that we have utilized in many of our courses. It's broken down into noticing, interpreting, and responding and reflecting. This first section is on noticing. We are wanting you to use this rubric what we're going to call conceptually, so it's not something that you're going to need to really, go side by side with the discussion board and make sure they are answering all the parts completely. It's really about are they getting these components of the clinical judgment model as part of their practice. So for effective noticing, for example, under focused observation, this Part 3 CDC Principles Discussion Board is specific to how the nurses are utilizing PPE. So students are going to be asked what did they observe? Was that correct? What recommendations would they have? And then you'll see as we move down to effective interpreting, we have prioritizing data and making sense of data. So these are the discussion boards that truly have those students to be able to effectively interpret the information. Next on the rubric is effective responding. We have calm, confident manner, clear communication, well-planned intervention, and being skillful. So many of our questions are linked to those parts of the rubric. And finally, reflection. So our students are asked to do a pre-reflection and a post-reflection as part of the assignment. And so that is where that dimension is located. Thanks to Holly and Karen Millott for working on this project with me and for all the work that they have done with that. They have created for you, each course has a one-page document that you're going to see here in your email. Let me pull that into the screen for you. You'll see here up at the top, this is specific to ANS2 practicum, but each course will have its own rubric. It's on one page. If you want to print this off and make yourself some notes as you go through and evaluate your students, that's a good place to kind of give you a reminder of where you want to evaluate your students at what level. These sheets are there and you can print. If you want us to print them for you at the college, I'm going to give you instructions in the email about how to do that. And we'll assist you with printing them out, and then you can come by and pick them up if you want. So just want to go back to the rubric. So this is where you can pick your E for exemplary, A for accomplished, D for developing, and B for beginning. I'm going to pull the rubric back up so you can see how to utilize this. I'm just going to go back up to the top here when it talks about noticing. So for example, under focused observation, going over here to beginning, confused by the clinical situation and the amount and kind of date, observation is not organized and an important data is missing and or assessment errors are made. So looking at that beginning student, basically that beginning part is not where we want any of our students at this point in their education. We're wanting to see that students early on in the curriculum, so in Comp 1, they would be anywhere from developing to accomplished. Our students in 3111P could have some developing marks to still be satisfactory, but they may have more accomplished in the area of accomplishment. And then by Junior 2, ANS2, and also OB and PEDS, we're looking at them being accomplished or exemplary. So you want to let your students know ahead of time where you're seeing they are within the spectrum. This is a learning opportunity. We are not wanting to be overly critical, but we want to give our students feedback at the same time. So I encourage you just to find the balance between those two things. So just to go over everything one more time, we have this one document that gives you all the information that you need, as well as the answer key and the rubric. You will have your individual document that you can utilize to make yourself some notes on each student. You could use this electronically if you want. But this rubric is actually going to be found and associated with your Blackboard gradebook. So it's a Blackboard rubric. You're going to see the rubric attached to part 8 of the assignment. And that is where you're formally going to give all your feedback to the students. But because this simulation is so large and has so many parts, we wanted to be able to give you a guide so that you'll have that as you do your work. I'm really interested in hearing what the students say in their reflections. If there are reflections that are particularly touching to you or things that you would think that would be interesting to share with me, I encourage you to send me an email and either send me the reflection or give me the student's name and I can look them up in your course. I would be very interested in reading them and getting to see what the students are getting out of this simulation, but also what they're experiencing in this pandemic. If you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to your practicum lead initially. And if there are questions that they cannot answer, then feel free to contact me. And I hope that students are enjoying this assignment and that you're going to see that they're really learning some good things from it. There's no requirement for you to respond to a certain number of discussion boards. Certainly, if students are going down the wrong path and other students can see that, I would encourage you to address that on discussion boards and redirect their thinking and learning and giving them feedback there. But you are not required to have that level of interaction for this type of assignment. Again, if you have questions, reach out to your practicum lead. If they're not able to assist you, then please reach out to me. And I hope that you're having a good